Leoland Zas, Davids, and then of course with Damien Vellacott pulling the strings, I think the Stormers can turn this one around.
Ryan?
Oh, don't ask me that question. Listen, I sort of hope for Edinburgh's sake. You know, you don't want to see them go too far, but I think it could be a tough evening for them. I think the Stormers have got too much. OK, we're going to find out shortly. We'll head over to our commentary team tonight. John Barclay is alongside Jamie Lyle.
Connie, thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. This really is one of the fixtures we were all so excited about when the BKT URC came to be. The Stormers, one of our sport's most iconic, most instantly recognisable brands, rocking up to Scotland's blustery capital to take on some of the nation's finest talent. Big names everywhere, pressure on Edinburgh already substantial. 6 changes to the Edinburgh team obliterated in Johannesburg. A deserved start for Paddy Harrison at hooker. Ben Healy dropped from the matchday 23 with Ross Thompson, and Ali Price charged with kick-starting a toothless attack. Duhan van der is back from a minor injury to take the team for land of his birth, and young hooker Harri Morris poised for his second Edinburgh match over 3 years since playing his first. John Dobson names a ferocious Stormers pack, the wisdom provided by 39-year-old Brok Harris, the snarl introduced by new Springbok André-Hugo Venter. Former Exeter behemoth Dave Ewers in the back row, glittering double world champion Damien Willems has shifted to fly half with one of the league's most creative players, Warwick Halat, deployed at fullback. Watch out too for Wandisne Simelane on the Stormers bench, box office in multiple positions. The DHL Stormers conclude their northern tour tonight. They've been to the rustic brewery field in Bridgend, then the raucous Stadio Sergio Lanfranchi in Parma. Now here they come in their 3rd country in as many weekends before returning to home comforts and the Cape Town Spring. But this is a game John Dobson has identified since the fixtures were announced, a potentially momentum-changing, momentum-infusing encounter for Captain Dan du Plessis and his troops. Missing a whole raft of Rugby Championship winning Springboks, but still armed with so many talented players, so much match winning talent. Edinburgh emerge in the burnt orange strips. How they'll be smarting, how they'll be hurting. Torn limb from limb in the Lions' Den. They need a response to rouse these fans, to carve out a first win in 5 months, not just the first win of this new URC season. The schedule's not been kind to them, not for a team reeling from an underwhelming finale to last term. And so far the ledger reads play 3, lost 3. Deep wounds inflicted by the Leka Leka Lions. A victory tonight would certainly start the healing process. A referee tonight, Ben Whitehouse of Wales, often seen in the TMO cabin, but turned loose for a canter around the Hive tonight. These Edinburgh fans need something to cheer. Can the home side provide it? It's Edinburgh's test match regulars against the swashbuckling South Africans from the Cape.
Use it!
And a commanding first take in the air from Ruben van Heerden, one of the Stormers' new recruits over the past year or so. Been so impressive in the boiler house with JD Schickerling. He'll punch some holes today. Thompson goes from the fly half. Tester for Galant. Attack back by Van der Merwe. Scott to Harrison. Rambunctious off the bench at Ellis Park. John Everett saying he would have started even if Ewan Ashwin and Dave Cherry had been fit. Both of them nursing injuries this weekend.
Stay back, lads.
Thompson kicking into the teeth of the Edinburgh breeze. Willems, uncharacteristic, and it's a penalty because Morabe picked it up from offside.
Even interesting, just 55 seconds into the game, Jamie. We heard from Sean Everett before the game, just that emphasis on Ross Thompson playing the game in the right part of the field. Ross Thompson had the ball twice now, 2 kicks up to contest. Damien Vellacott, be disappointed not to take that, but you see the emphasis. They've got to control the game. There's a number of different ways you can do that, but certainly the kicking game is a huge part of that.
Edinburgh opting to go to the corner, trying to breathe some life into this attack that has flatlined for much of the past year or so. Patrick Harrison's first throw of the evening. Oh, Edinburgh pack in there. Van Heerden, big steal. And Dave Ewers gets his enormous frame on that ball.
5, stop, 5! Good.
Williams a calm clearance, but not off the pitch. First touch for Darcy Graham. Back from that big groin injury layoff and looking to pierce between the heavies. Bryce, Thompson, Van Merwe standing at second receiver this time. Something Sean Everett's talked about, getting the ball into the hands of Duhan Van Merwe more often. Gilchrist out the back, Thompson takes it neatly. Tuipulotu bumping and trundling and spinning. Providing some punch that Edinburgh lacked in their midfield last season. Pierre Schoeman, 16 carries on the high felt last weekend. Thompson under big pressure from Paul de Vet. Another tester, Gillant's under this one. Spills it backwards. Edinburgh on it through Bradbury and through Duhan van Merwe with one of those trademark barreling runs off the touchline. Bryce, Thompson.
Stop one. Good.
This is for Darcy Graham, and it curls beautifully for Graham. He loses it, and Williamson, that's the box of tricks opened. Leolin's ass scurries away. A little flash of electricity from the Stormers. Brok Harris, incredibly 4 months short of his 40th birthday. And Gillant, so good at identifying space. Finds some unguarded Edinburgh plastic.
Retreat.
Thompson covers. Ball's been in play a long old time here.
Certainly has. All came from that Edinburgh line-out, though. Line-out, which was, bizarrely, they had the best line-out in the league last year on their own ball. 4 games in, they're sitting at the second worst line-out. I do feel a little bit for Patrick Harrison there. You got a call, you want to throw it to the back, but you could see very early on the Stormers were going to throw a pod up at the tail, so Edinburgh, Grant Gilchrist have to be aware that you have an idea of how a team's going to defend the lineouts. Sometimes that picture changes in the first lineout. But again, we saw the touches from Ross Thompson, pulling the strings, bit of variety between kicking the ball to compete. The crossfield there seemed to have a clear understanding of how they're trying to play the game this afternoon.
First scrum of the evening. Stormers won 7 scrum penalties against Sebre Parma 7 days ago.
Impossible.
Do you mind just untucking a little bit? So he tried to get his buy and just couldn't grab hold of the shirt. I'm not saying it's too small, but he tried to get it, he couldn't get it.
Athletic cut.
Yeah, athletic cut, that's it. Pierre Schoeman's wearing a large, I believe. There's not much of it on him, though.
There's
more like a
space
crop
there now to
top.
grab, okay? I'll come straight back. Crouch!
If you're Edinburgh, John, what are you eyeing up here?
Bind!
It's a great place to attack from. You can see how they've set up with Hodgson behind the scrum. We're not going to see anyway another reset, but gives me a chance to make up a play, which I don't know yet. I would say, if you look at Hodgson, his offloading ability certainly is the top offloader in the league this year, but get into space. Darcy Graham with all this width here. It's about getting a good scrum and letting Ali Price run. And ultimately, you've got to try and make Ruanel commit to someone when he doesn't want to and isolate Zas.
Yeah, the way Edinburgh's lined up, they got all their backs on the left, creating all the space for the probably a typical 8, 9, 15, 14.
Bind!
Really exposing that 13 Ruanel on defence, stretching him, making decisions.
Yeah, use it now, use it.
That's a heavy old Edinburgh shunt. Ali Price ordered to play. Price snipes, throws the dummy, burns through the middle, looking for options off the deck, and it cannons off Goosen, not a knock-on. Harrison burrows.
Agree, Tom? Yeah.
Darcy Graham working hard with a pick and drive off his wing. Ben Muncaster screaming for it on the near side.
Off the head, then off the hand. Knock on.
It is going to be
From my
ruled
view, it was
as
off the head. I'm sorry.
a knock on. First off the head, that's fine, but laterally off Edinburgh fingertips.
From my view, it was off the head, lads. It's come off the hand first.
But really well executed there by Ali Price. Probably tucked that ball in a little bit too early. If he had it in 2 hands, Graham on the outside on the long ball was in space. But very well executed.
Scrum, blue ball.
Yeah, I think when Ali Price runs, I just wonder, where the Darcy Graham, he's holding width, which obviously creates the space for him, because Zass has got to hold a bit of width, but could he have anticipated that break, got closer to him, made that pass a bit easier? But all the little pieces of the puzzle were great there. The scrum was great, so Dave Ewers has to stay on the scrum because he's worried about the scrum penalty. Ali Price does enough to get to Nell, throws the dummy. It's encouraging signs from an Edinburgh point of view.
A great pick.
Crouch. Bind. Set.
Stormers not big fans of 4G pitches, something John Dobson's spoken about through the week. Not got a great record when they come away from home, play on the plastic, but they have marmalised that Edinburgh set piece. And here they come, Willemse moving it out to Rowan Nell, 33-year-old veteran. Big carrier in that midfield for the Cape Townians. The dummy from Ben Jason Dixon, who's won his first clutch of Springbok caps over the summer. And Ben Whitehouse brings them back. Big statement from the Stormers 8.
Yeah, big scrum there by the Stormers. They were a little bit under pressure in the first game against the Ospreys. Really got those scrum statistics back last week against Palmer. And starting strong this weekend against Edinburgh.
I know you're waiting for the advantage.
See the job they're doing there. Of Pierre Schoeman managing to split him there. Fouché and Venter managed to isolate him, so he's scrummaging on his own. Then they can take the pressure through the left side of the scrum.
Tina's talked a little bit about Damien Willemse and Warwick Gallant and the role that they'll play as twin playmakers. John Dobson's spoken a lot about having that engineered a phase play where they can use one as a first receiver on either side of the ruck and really orchestrate some problems for Edinburgh.
Yeah, two really dangerous attacking players, especially on this artificial pitch. You mentioned earlier, we don't have any of these pitches in South Africa because of the weather and the growing conditions there. So it is a new experience. It is a bit of a way of playing that you got to get used to. But so dangerous behind there. You got your Leolan Zass, Angelo Davids. Those real dangerous attackers are out wide. And they are going to get the pull in the strings to get the ball in their hands and create the opportunities.
If you're wondering, you can see Ryan Wilson in the back of that picture. He's eating artichokes, I believe, as a snack today.
I thought I could smell them. Didn't want to say. Here's Dan du Plessis, the Stormers captain.
He's hitting their playoff.
Probably quite underrated in South Africa, outside of his own franchise. Terrific centre. Willemse hoists. Zass gives chase. Beautiful, nimble footwork from Wes Goosen. Did that all last season. That standout performer in a team that didn't win enough, didn't score enough. Here's Van Merwe bustling down those tram lines. Price, Schoeman. Thompson looking for space in behind Warwick Gallant. Well covered by the 2019 world champion. Gallant with the wind at his back has made really good headway with that clearance.
Yeah, return with interest there. But again, I think it's a really good idea. With some the shape broke down slightly. A little bit unlucky with the bounce there, which you're going to see on these artificial pitches. Just bounces straight back up. But they're certainly coming with an approach of trying to ping the Stormers back, turning them, knowing how dangerous they are, making sure they're playing in the right areas.
Stay.
Hodgson takes uncontested.
Immediate sack, play on.
And the Stormers have come piling through and dynamited that Edinburgh drive. And then hands on the deck.
Sack was immediate, maul wasn't formed. You can't
and he
lift
just
the ball
played,
when you're on your
Ruben
knees.
van Heerden there, played the ball whilst he was in the tackle. Off his feet. It's a pity there for the Stormers. Did really well to unsettle that line out and put the pressure behind the point.
Brok, just take a step off me, thanks mate.
Numbers.
Pierre Schoeman, a tireless carrier for Edinburgh. In good times and bad. Big throw for Harrison, finds Hodgson this time. Edinburgh made only 2 line breaks against the Lions last weekend. They conceded a dozen. They've drawn the penalty advantage from another maul.
Thanks mate, full.
Scott, Thompson, all a bit static. Goosen, and he tiptoe around the defenders. He won't need to.
With 10, 15 metres. does. Number 4 collapsed. 4 was the first person. There was another one involved as well. I didn't see who it was. You were 4? You were the first collapse. There was another one. I think it was 5. You can't collapse the player still.
No, I know Edinburgh had advantage there, so it's almost a free pass, but
He didn't for me.
you look at the depth they're playing with behind the gain line. Look how comfortable it is throwing the ball. You know, big long passes. And they look good. Edinburgh. It's, you know, short, direct. Ball's not in the air a long time. You see they got the advantage here. The ball goes to width, but they've got to tighten things up. Play on top of the Stormers. Try and tighten them up, and then you've got to get your ball to the width to your dangerous runners. Not force it there.
Attack has been Edinburgh's Achilles heel since Sean Everett took charge. Scott Matthey only came in with the final 4 weeks of pre-season as the designated attack coach. Stats don't make for pretty reading. Fewest line breaks, 13th for carries, 14th for tackle breaks.
It's not a maul, it's an immediate sack. Tackle the ball carrier immediately, unplayable, Edinburgh ball.
We're going to have another red zone possession here. But what more do you want to see from Edinburgh's attack, John? You've spoken a lot and lamented the lack of innovation, the use of one-out runners and fairly turgid formulaic rugby. What more do you want to see that might prove some cut through?
I think you look at this team, and if you're breaking it down, they've got a really impressive pack of forwards that are capable of mixing it, carrying direct, getting over the gain line, and that's definitely something you can never go away from entirely. But it's how do you link that with, you know, slightly more detail, slightly more intricacy, and then go back to, you look at the lenses of the world, the top sides in this league. Look at Glasgow, they get close to the line and it's either short and sharp, it's direct, but then something happens slightly wider, they shift the point of attack, and that's when your strength becomes even stronger, your forward game becomes even stronger because the defence is more aware of what's happening outside it. Right now, if I'm a defender, I'm a defence coach, I'm saying defend the first 10 metres around this breakdown. That's what matters against Edinburgh, and that's the challenge for them, is how do we get the Tuipulotu of the world into the game more? How do we get Matt Scott carrying in one-on-one situations? How can we create opportunities whereby we're actually manipulating defence and running tries over? So it's very simple, James, you can tell.
I thought they were going to take up the whole game there.
I had a full lecture already there.
The rain begins to lash down at the Hive, lashing down on Edinburgh backs as they trample their way towards the line, but the Stormers infiltrate that maul and bring it to ground. Price off the deck. Muncaster and Ritchie carrying hard.
4!
Schoeman waits with Harrison.
It's your player.
He's not the biggest front row, Patrick Harrison, but he's so dynamic. We'll have to settle for the scrum. The Stormers again doing a fine spoiling job.
Is lying on top of the ball. It's not their player. Scrum. Captain was on top of the ball.
Very good defensive set so far by the Stormers. Getting in there, disrupting any momentum by Edinburgh. Ruben van Heerden getting in there, and Jason Dixon. But as you mentioned earlier, this is the way they got back into the game against the Lions. Around the corner. And rightly so, John. The Stormers have to make sure that first 5-10 meters around the ruck, or the scrum, or the maul, it's got to be very heavily defended, because that's where the Edinburgh runners are going to come and target.
Big bites, long bites. Crouch! Bind!
Edinburgh owning the early possession and territory. Can they convert those stats into 5 or 7 precious points? Bradbury comes thundering off the base. Got the penalty, Stormers offside. Hodgson into Morabe. Schoeman has a shot. 5 metres out, Edinburgh. Price, Tuipulotu, splatted by Brok Harris. Face planted into the AstroTurf. Hodgson goes. Nothing much doing there.
Number 10.
And that's where you've got to see something slightly different. You've got to show a different picture. We actually saw it slightly from Tuipulotu there. He tried to run that wider line, cutting the pass out across him. Play just staggered a little bit, but that's the players you want to see running it, trying to find mismatches. Look at him, he's talking, he's trying to get involved. Let's see if he can get involved here.
Schoeman locks and loads and thunders to within a metre. Agricultural but effective. Gilchrist shovels it off the ground. Almost a knock-on. Stormers crying for it. Gilchrist again. Edinburgh capped on this Stormers try line. Squeezing and sliding and squirming. Paul Hill protects. Ritchie waits.
Sorry, I was going to say Darcy Graham or Wes Goosen could walk it in the corner. The opportunity's gone now.
Gilchrist! He hadn't scored a try for 6 years. But the giant warhorse of the pack has 2 in as many weekends.
Ground and then lost it.
Splashing over the top of that rock.
Patience. Last penalty for set piece. Is it set piece offside?
10 shot up, yeah. 10 shot up.
Just check the late break.
Yeah, patience, the key word there.
48.
Look at the detail, the connection between them. Grant Gilchrist goes American football style over the top. Mosese Tuipulotu enjoyed that one. And look, there's absolutely a place for this in the game. It's how do you do this against very organised defences? How do you manipulate them that bit more? Wonder if they're going to check that grounding. It doesn't even appear there's a ball in picture there.
I don't think he's grounded that.
Stormers players were asking the question.
It just looks like he loses that in the process of driving over, NFL style.
Yeah, they're going to check.
Tom Spurrier of the TMO wants a closer look at this.
Okay, so on-field decision is try. Grounded it, then pushed back over the line. So over to you, Tom.
Oh, he's lost it. He's completely lost it.
How about the work from Brok Harris?
Brok Harris, all 39 years of experience.
But he's lost it backwards.
Okay, we'll have a look.
10,000 games, 10,000 hours, and you become a master at your trade.
Moves pretty nimbly there for a 39-year-old.
Combined age of 54 or 74, I can't do the maths.
The player has lost the ball backwards.
Keep playing it a second. Yeah. Okay, Tom, I'm ready for the decision. It's going to be no try. He's lost it. Lost it backwards, but then it becomes unplayable. So it's not a knock-on. So it's in fact it's Edinburgh ball, scrum 5.
Yeah, I agree, Ben.
Right, there's a bit to sort out here. The upshot is Edinburgh don't have the try, do have the scrum 5, thanks to some
Knocked backwards, so it's Edinburgh
defensive
ball,
heroics from big Brok Harris, 39 years of age, 17 years since his pro debut. This is professional match number 520. And John Dobson reckons he's the most mobile prop he's got.
Well, he certainly showed it there.
Get the ball back. Let's go shoot.
Tinas, if you're an attacking player here, what are you looking for? What have you got up your sleeve?
Well, you're going to look to exploit, probably on the right-hand side, all that space, get that stable platform.
Crouch.
You want to get it to your dangerous players, your Duhan, Merwe, your Wes Goosen, and Darcy Graham, because it is very frightening.
Bradbury into Tuipulotu, piercing between 3. Gallant almost pilfered it back, but Edinburgh still pounding away. Price goes digging. Bradbury. Stormers, this Norman Laker drill defence, doing its job brilliantly. Paul Hill, next bruiser to be repelled. Price to Muncaster. Blue and white hooped wall, barring Edinburgh's path. Schoeman caught by Brok Harris again. That was a fine tackle.
Push back, push back. 1.
At what point do Edinburgh try to give this some air? Will they need to?
Leave it, 15.
Phase after bruising phase. And still Edinburgh bludgeon. Schoeman and Hill.
Leave it.
Dixon's turned him turtle. This time they squirm over. And this time the try is good. All that work, all those punishing carries, and finally Patrick Harrison has chiselled his way over for Edinburgh.
Yeah, you almost feel like Edinburgh had to score there. All that possession, all that territory becomes really important. Actually, the Stormers defended it really well, but at some point, that close to the line, you just got to get under someone. someone gets caught that little bit too high. Tall man against a shorter man. Squirms under.
Yeah, Ruben van Heerden, as you said there, John. High in body position, he is a lock. You have to get as low as possible there. But they changed the point of attack from that scrum, going a little bit wider, and then coming around on the fold with the big runners.
Ross Thompson's kicked 7 from 8 goals so far this season. Kicking into what is still a stout Edinburgh gust. Curls it round very nicely. It's taken a while, but we have the first try. Edinburgh 7, Stormers 0, and Patrick Harrison has it.
You've got to say Edinburgh have completely controlled the opening quarter of this match. Look at possession. We look at some stats in front of us: 78% possession, 2 clean breaks, 90% territory. All the numbers pointing in the right direction for Edinburgh compared to last week.
Ali Price looking for touch, finding it. Something Edinburgh didn't do often enough last weekend. They gave the Lions what the Lions crave, particularly the Highveld, particularly with those lunchtime kickoffs. Kicked loosely, were turned over, forced offloads. 6 tries conceded in transition when the ball is handed back to the opposition. Edinburgh were filleted. André-Hugo Venter, another of this clutch of new Springboks, cut by Rassie Erasmus. It was a winter period in South Africa. Fouché scooping it back for Venter. All a bit untidy from the Stormers and losing the ball in the moist conditions. Tuipulotu wide for Goosen. Merwe gets another carry. Piston-like handoff. Price and Muncaster slipping through the middle. What a swell from Muncaster. He's under the sticks. Ben Muncaster slicing and dicing the Stormers. What balance, what footwork. And Sean Everett can just about crack a smile in the coaching box.
Yeah, you've got to say, it's a well-taken try. I think the Stormers would be disappointed they didn't take their medicine off a fumbled line-out. But just talk about that ability to move the pass slightly, one pass wider. Jamie Ritchie does really well. Then Muncaster runs a great line, and what a great finish. I think he's been one of Edinburgh's best players opening 3 rounds of the season. Look at Jamie Ritchie, his eyes are actually on the defender there. He's seeing if the defender's bitten in on him. Makes a 2-on-1 out of nothing in the middle of the pitch. Good try, gives Edinburgh some breathing room.
Yeah, and it's that inability by the Stormers to look after their precious little possession. Trying to force the offloads.
Oh, really? Today?
And then they give away possession. And a great finish there. Lovely little tip on. Your arrowhead of attack. Little tip on. And what a finish by the flanker.
Scotland's autumn squad due to be announced in the next week or so. Gregor Townsend and the rest of the coaching staff watching on just beneath us in the commentary gantry, taking note, no doubt, of Ben Muncaster's form. Ross Thompson pops over the conversion, ended with a 2-score lead.
It's actually one of the frustrating things about Stormers last year was they almost sometimes didn't understand when to take their medicine, Tinas. They almost went and forced offloads, and you saw there almost a disjointed at the back of the maul, and at that point you're thinking just regroup, get the ball, keep the ball, we can find our shape again at some point, but they persisted with the offload, and then end results that try.
Penalty given to the Stormers. The knock on from Magnus Bradbury, had the ball jerked from his grasp, picked up from an offside position. A chance for the Stormers to get right back into this here.
And they're definitely going to the corner. Out of picture, you wouldn't have seen André-Hugo Venter already has the ball in his hand on the sideline. It's pretty clear their game plan today. Score tries. I heard John Dobson before the game talking about that. Almost lacking a recognised kicker. Their mindset today is attack.
First time they've had possession inside the Edinburgh 22. John Dobson peering from beneath his layers and his hoods.
Boys, can you just step, please?
This chill autumnal evening in Edinburgh. The rain has cleared, the sun splitting the patchwork clouds in the sky.
You're coming late.
And the Stormers 10 metres from Scottish pay dirt. Van Heerden takes. Penalty advantage to the South Africans. André-Hugo Venter fighting his way around that breakdown. De Vet digs it out. Ben Jason Dixon ploughs up to the 5. De Vet, the miss pass for Duplessis. Willemse somehow finds Zas, who sits down for the Merwe. Catapults him onto his rear end. Still the Stormers play, still the offload. Was that a deliberate knock-on? I wonder if that needs a second look. Stormers were incensed by the Edinburgh hand that came through from Patrick Harrison. They were under penalty advantage anyway.
5, you can't touch the jumper when he's in the air.
Play the receiver in the air there.
On the 15.
That's why the penalty. They'll look to keep that ball in hand as much as possible.
What's John Dobson got up his sleeve here? What have they been working on? Let's have a look. Oh, something.
Here's the choreography. The big boys leave it for De Vet, who shifts the point of attack. De Vet hits the deck. Another penalty advantage to the visitors. De Vet. Morabe. Back will come.
East and west, not into the 9, please. First.
So not rolling away wrong, from that tackle into the 9. Should try and roll west, sideways as quick as possible so that the 9 can present the ball, get the play going. When you're under pressure, you want to try and slow down that ball as much as possible on the defence.
Called for a scrum this time, the Stormers. That's a big statement of intent.
Trip the 9 up. We've got to go east and west.
It's almost a mirror image of their respective round 3 performances for Edinburgh and the Stormers. Edinburgh had absolutely no ball in the first half, 48-0 down by the time it ended. The Stormers had to make only 62 tackles in the full 80 minutes against Ebra Parma. They bossed that encounter. They had all the possession.
Crouch.
To put that in perspective, Glasgow round 1 over in Belfast had to make over 300.
Set.
What a position for the Stormers. This is like waking up on Christmas morning as a kid with a room full of presents.
And then you wake up and it's still Christmas Eve.
We both lost the shape.
Scrum reset.
Just a lump of coal for you this year.
It's interesting just looking at, they obviously kicked to the corner the first one, a little bit further out. The next one they tapped 5 metres out. I think probably the fact that they're right bang under the sticks. Such a lonely place to defend against. Never mind as a back row, but first defender back, Mosese Tuipulotu, Matt Scott, Ross Thompson. They have some decisions to make. You assume this scrum's going to be solid as best as we can see. And then it's about making decisions. Who can make the right decisions with and without the ball?
Right, let's see if it's Christmas this time, shall we?
Bind. Set.
Chalant on the left of this scrum, Willemse on the right, the twin Stormers playmakers. They might not need the dazzlers because the big boppers are doing the job. Did Morabe lose that forward? No, he didn't. Willemse is in.
Definitely have to look at that Morabe carry when he went down. It's not the first time tonight that he's lost the ball in contact. Solid try though. There's going to be some question marks. Strong, solid scrum.
Just knocked on blind side,
the right
side of
wheel
it,
up. Then just look there. Does the ball go forward or backwards?
Show it to me again.
It's Matt Scott's tackle coming in from the blind side. Tom Spurrier, the TMOs.
Yeah, they're going to replay the angle from the best side, yeah.
Come in, that's the voice you can hear there.
Just wonder if it went backwards, maybe. And does it come? We need to have a close look. Does Matt Scott's hand hit it? I'm not sure.
It's a bit like Gilchrist
earlier.
So
10's clearly offside there as well, okay? So we're going to go, it's a knock-on, but we're going to go penalty against 10 Edinburgh for offside.
Yeah, I agree, Ben.
Okay, captain.
Next thing now is repeated infringements.
So it's a knock-on, clearly. But 10 was offside, so we're going to restart. Same as when the 10 was offside for Stormers on the goal line. We're going to restart with a penalty against 10, offside. Knock-on, but 10 was offside first.
Scrum again, you'd have to think.
I've had enough Christmases, I think.
It's never that good anyway, is it?
No, once you get to Irish, mate.
It just turned like that for me. Knowing I felt it was at fault, it just turned.
Point is there, he's got 3 penalties in a row now in this attacking area for the Stormers.
It just went forward and then it just turned.
John Dobson's spoken a lot about the momentum changes that are possible on a 4G pitch. The fact that you don't necessarily have the same purchase in your studs, that it is unfamiliar to a lot of his players, those who haven't plied their trade abroad, that is. And if you can generate that momentum in tight exchanges, in set piece, it's very, very hard for a defending team to dig their studs in and find the purchase to stop the impetus.
Crouch!
Stormers in the shadow of the Edinburgh uprights as we tick towards the half-hour mark. It's the same setup. The vet has to play. Killant screams for it. Warwick Killant drops it on the toe and Edinburgh mop up. Ali Price down in Coffin corner. Tuipulotu tumped on his rear end. And it will be another scrum foul to the Stormers.
I don't know what you think, Tines. That for me is such a poor option first phase.
Very poor, very poor. Carry the ball, keep the ball in hand. It's not a big in-goal area anyway, so you're always going to risk putting a little grub on the feet there. Keep the ball in hand as much as possible. You've got lightning feet, Warwick Killant. Use them.
Your feet underneath you, don't go long, and then your elbow up and not a hinge. Crouch! Bind! Set!
The packs lock horns once again.
Knife back.
Stormers smell blood in that set piece. They have to play again. DeVet. Willemse zas off his wing. Buffeting aside Mosese Tuipulotu. Quick ball for DeVet. And Schickerling, the enormous lock. Jamie Ritchie over the ball. Stolen it back. Where's it going? Guess what we're going to have now?
It's on the ball. Sorry, it's not a ruck, it's on the ball.
It's another scrum
taken
foul.
over again by Edinburgh.
Jamie Ritchie, certainly the turnover king from last year.
Clearly won by 7.
You can hear, maybe it's Muncaster that go over the ball. I thought it was Jamie Ritchie. You see him flopping over it. You could argue that Edinburgh players aren't rolling away. You so often see that penalised. When you see a turnover, why with the clear is not there quicker? I think of it John Dobson, and they're sat right in front of us. I think they'd argue that Jamie Ritchie a little bit lucky to get away with there, but he's been in great form over the breakdown. Especially if he becomes harder year on year. You create a reputation as that guy. The target becomes even bigger for clearing forwards. There he is there. He's not happy with that. I don't blame him.
Yeah, well, the thing is, the support player by the Stormers, Dave Ewers, was on the outside of the ball carrier. Left that inside channel open for Ritchie to pounce in. Yes, you can argue about the tacklers not rolling away, but it wasn't someone over the ball directly, just opened up a little bit of space, and he is so dangerous over that ball.
You're going to take one of them back down the road with you tonight? Tina, I mean the Whigs, not the children.
Festive atmosphere, Jamie.
Player still injured or is he up?
André-Hugo Venter, a player with substantial potential. Springbok debut against Portugal in one of the tests that preceded the Box Rugby Championship win. He's a versatile player, he's a dynamic player. Just an illustration of the depth the Stormers have. They've got Dion Fourie to come back from injury, hooker come flanker. They've got Joseph Dueba, who's running the water today, not selected this weekend, but another Springbok. Mani Livot, Frans Malherbe, Stephen Kitsoff, Salman Murat, Sasha Feinberg and Gomezulu. Plenty more ammunition to come back into the reckoning when the Stormers return to Cape Town.
Set!
want to do so. With something to show from this encounter in the Scottish capital. And again, the scrum, leaving Edinburgh backwards. De Vet, Philipson, the miss pass to Nel, crashes over. Much, much better from the Stormers. They've been capped down here for an age, for eons. And finally they have found the key to that stubborn Edinburgh door.
Solid platform to play against, and so difficult to defend when you're on your line for a backline player. Dan du Plessis there with the short run, just fixing the Edinburgh defenders in, and then the hard line then in by Ruanel. It's difficult to stop a 100-kilogram centre on a hard line in, especially if you're on his outside. If you mark him on the inside, it's a bit different, but Goosen there had to tackle from the outside in. Momentum taking him over.
Missed the vast swathe of last season with a knee injury, Ruanel. Loving being back in those midfield trenches. That's the go forward he gives you. Pressure on Philipson today off the tee. Not known for his goal kicking, but was never going to have any issues from that range. 7-point game, thanks to Ruanel.
Yeah, it's well worked in the end by the Stormers. I think Edinburgh did well to hold them out, but I think if you're Edinburgh, obviously defended for a large period there. Discipline was fraying a little bit, but for them, the message on the post has got to be, let's get back down. Look, when we were good, we dominated the first 25 minutes of this game because we played in the right areas. Let's get back down there.
Ben Muncaster gets through with the charge down. Hodgson rips it back for Edinburgh, but Aldi Price, I think, is done for offside.
9, you're offside.
Yeah.
Pretty here for Edinburgh.
Charging player was fine, but 9 was offside.
Oh, that's a tight call, isn't it?
Marginal there. And that's the difference from not playing at 10 for so many games. That pressure, your angles behind the breakdown to try and clear those kicks away.
Behind who? He was offside.
It's a big season this for Ali Price, John. I think he's out of contract at the end of the campaign. He wasn't getting game time at Glasgow. George Horn, Jamie Dobie dominating those positions. I think we sometimes forget he's a 3-test Lion on the most recent tour.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's so much quality within him. I think it's hard when you've been the go-to man, and certainly in a Scotland jersey and a Glasgow jersey, and sometimes your career takes that turn, but he's got those qualities. I think he's got to find a bit of form, and that'll come through consistent game time. But he's definitely got time on his side still. It's definitely not a last contract.
Philipson on the dive and the swivel. Nel drills it into the Edinburgh 22, where Darcy Graham is doing the fielding and the clearing. And that's a good yardage gain from the Stormers and a smart option from Ruanel.
And it's good maturity by the Stormers. We saw one of their last similar lineouts in a similar position. The outcome was an Edinburgh try, overplaying, and just understanding. That's Edinburgh trying to pin us back. We've got to pin them back, use our kicking game. And this is the outcome. You get a great attacking lineout.
Best lineout in the URC, the Stormers. 100% unblemished record. De Vet. Angelo Davids, try off the bench in Italy last weekend. Off his wing, working hard. Thundering through goes Dave Ewers, European and English champion with the Exeter Chiefs back in 2020. Van Heerden has to go in and do the salvaging. Schoeman with a shot. Stormers love to play at high tempo. They've got the fastest average ruck speed. They recycle that ball quicker than any team in the competition. Most offloads too. They don't mind the loose stuff like this. They're happy to chance their arm, and they've chanced it brilliantly here. And Gelants watches Duhan van der Merwe skating over the touchline.
Touch. 2 touch. 2 touch. Yeah, touch.
Well, that's playing on the edge. If it works, it works. If it doesn't work, it's a try on the other side. A little bit of footwork there by Warwick Gelant. He's got the gas to follow up. A great cover tackle. Cover defence by Duhan van der Merwe coming off his wing from the other side.
Lads, let him hit the ground.
But once again, it's possession for the Stormers 5 metres out.
Golden opportunity for the Stormers to level the scores before half-time. Ben Jason Dixon's the option at the end. The maul crumbles, but Venter comes powering off on his own. De Vet, Neethling Fouché.
Oh, great hit by Paul Hill there. Momentum stopper.
Harris nosedives on the 5-metre line. De Vet, Dixon again. Driving those legs, carrying orange jerseys with him, Dixon.
Leave it!
They're as close as that now. De Vet, he's got Merwe riding side saddle. Merwe burrows. Willemse's calling for it off to the left. Fouché goes it alone. Ritchie slowing it up. De Vet, and still they power through. Ewers! Ross Thompson gets underneath him. One of the biggest men, the biggest Clydesdale horses in the stable. Held up by one of the smallest. Fabulous work from Ross Thompson.
And I tell you, if you watch Glasgow play, obviously Ross Thompson spent a lot of time there. You see Glasgow do this, one of the small, targeting the ball. Always targeting the ball, especially that close to the line. If you're a smaller man, he does so well. He's almost accepted he's going to get overpowered, but use your body, use your knees, use your back, get under that ball. It's a good piece of defence by Ross Thompson. I think he's actually had a really strong opening 37 minutes, controlled the game well. Love to see him with a bit more ball in hand, but that's the ebbs and flows of the game, and it's for Edinburgh now to try and regain some control here.
Behind Duhan, please. Thanks, mate. Thanks, Adam.
The half has almost been split into two 20-minute periods of all-out red zone attack. First for Edinburgh, then for the Stormers. And Dan du Plessis, the captain, rouses his team. Final 2 minutes of the first 40. Gelant, look at the dummying, look at the skills. He's got them on puppet strings. Dabs it to the corner. Davids, oh, he just can't take it. Oh, that deserved the finish.
Goal line dropout, knock on.
Warwick Gelant is magic.
Goal line dropout. Knock on in goal.
That was outrageous. Absolutely. Look at massive
knock
dummy.
In goal, goal line dropout.
Another dummy onto the foot, and just Wes Goosen does just about enough to put Angelo Davids off. What a try that would have been.
Knock on in goal.
And that, Tinas, is the value of having Warwick Gelant in your back line. Stepping and almost like Billy LaRue does for the Springboks and creating.
Yeah, if you give him a bit of space, a bit of go forward, he is so dangerous. That time, a lovely little dink on the foot. That was the right time. And here we go again.
It's the same template. It's du Plessis and Merwe winning the hard yards after contact. We're getting cricks in our neck from craning our heads off to the left. That's where all the play has been for the past 10-15 minutes or so. Merwe. Willemse taking it to the line, challenging that Michael Todd-driven Edinburgh defence. Gelant, again, so calm, so assured, but this time some interference being run.
Run behind him and formed the block.
Van Heerden took the scenic routes, and there were blockers between him and the Edinburgh tacklers.
Just lost their shape slightly there, Stormers. I don't think they're meant to be complicated. Just someone missed their cue a little bit, overruns the ball, and you end up with that outcome. But it's been a funny old half, Jamie. Like you say, 20 minutes of all Edinburgh with the ball. The next 20 all Stormers. I think that man in picture and Edinburgh would be delighted with how they've managed this opening half, controlled the first 20 minutes. Much more positive than certainly last week.
And a perfect illustration of that control and management exhibited by Edinburgh and by Ross Thompson. Just gobbled up the last couple of seconds before lacing it over the far stand. Edinburgh have turned the tables. They were 48 points down at this time 7 days ago. They're 7 points to the good, back on home soil. 2 minutes against the Lions at altitude in Ellis Park. The Pentland Hills, the silhouette in the background, the clouds clearing as dusk approaches, and 40 box office minutes to settle this BKT URC Clash of the Hemispheres.
Happy.
We're almost ready to go. Saturday night in Edinburgh. Who can step forward and seize this match, which hangs in the balance at the break? Darcy Graham spills the opening kickoff.
First off blue, then there was a little fumble there. First knock on off blue, little fumble off orange.
There's a knock on from
orange.
Stormers first, so it will be an Edinburgh scrum.
Okay, lads. Feet underneath. Long bind. Elbow up. Same view, okay?
Been a change in the front row for the Stormers. André-Hugo Venter has been replaced by JJ Coetzee. It's a blood substitution, we understand, at the moment, so André-Hugo Venter, having not been sufficiently patched up at half-time, still requiring some treatment.
Crouch!
JJ Coetzee, just 3 appearances for the Stormers in the URC last term. Played plenty of Currie Cup rugby for Western Province, but stuck behind Dweba and Venter and occasionally Dion Fouché in the pecking order. Chance for him to show his wares. Edinburgh scrum penalty.
3 straight out.
Yeah, penalising Neethling Fouché there. Boring in from the outside in.
Stay straight, go forward.
See, keep an eye on the angle here. Been penalised for going in. I actually think it's hard to see that. You could almost argue that Pierre Schoeman goes on the outside of him.
Yeah, almost looked like he lost his bind too.
Patrick Harrison peers down the gauntlet and hits Hodgson. Ross Thompson static into Bradbury. 17 carries against the Lions last weekend.
It's good line speed by the Stormers. Look where they started.
The defence coach Norman Laker was reportedly on the shortlist to succeed Felix Jones in the England defence coach hot seat. Didn't get the job in the end, went to Joel Abdevoyanat. But he's made a good name for himself in South Africa. Warwick Galant, the reverse to the near side. Goosen with the riposte. Galant. Willemse. Those 2 magicians who command so much of what the Stormers do. Slick hands from Nell and Davids. Too much gas for Harrison. Goosen stands firm on the 22.
Lead it back. Good.
Devet, Morabe, listen to those collisions. Bone on bone, meat slapping meat. Schickerling takes it on. Galant. No knock on that one. Edinburgh crowd not too happy. The Stormers play on with Fouché and tipped back by Jamie Ritchie.
Backwards again off orange.
Edinburgh have done enough to preserve their defence. Then they've had the ball stripped from their grasp, and Willemse is galloping round. They're queuing up on the left, and the try will be scored by Zas. How ruthless, how predatory. You cannot give the Stormers a sniff.
You clear everything, but for me, in the split sec.
Great finish there by Zas. Very strong, riding that tackle, finishing it off.
But if it's complete, obviously we can check.
But Stormers, again, guilty of turning over possession. But JD Schickerling there, ripping the ball, and that allows the opportunity. Lovely hands by Dan du Plessis. And that's a strong finish by Leolin Zas. But earlier on in that passage of play, Stormers once again untidy in keeping their possession.
Yeah, there's a couple of things to check here. They're going to see whether his knee touches the ground before this ball is ripped, which it does. That's a ruck. So whether Ben Whitehouse gets that communicated to him, I don't know if he can see it from where he's standing, but certainly that would be the argument that Darcy Graham's knee, as soon as his knee touches the ground, Schickerling's not allowed to rip that ball out. Anytime before that he can, but watch, knee on the ground, rip. That try shouldn't stand.
It's a pretty easy one here, Tom. I've just seen it on the screen in the corner. So, obviously in the split second, I thought he'd ripped it before the tackle complete, but clearly it's after, so it's a penalty for tackle not release.
Yeah, the player's knee is clearly on the floor.
Yeah. No try.
3 disallowed tries in this contest. Shrill blast from Brent Whitehouse.
It's ripped whilst the player was tackled complete. It's a penalty.
And John Dobson just in front of us.
Apologies, it happened really quick. I
Coach.
got it wrong. My wrong read. Just below. Thanks for getting the tackles up, Tommy.
Those marginal moments. But they were guilty of handing over possession too easily, forcing an offload that wasn't there. Look after the ball, keep building those phases.
This is the play on the blind side. Look at even at the hands here by Nell. So Davis is nice and flat. It's just here. You wondered, Edinburgh did a really good job actually. Look at how they managed to fill the pitch, but that'll be the frustration for John Dobson. Another opportunity gone missing.
Darcy Graham hot-footing it between the big specimens of the pack. Schoeman. Always that ripple of excitement when Pierre Schoeman locks and loads for a carry. Hodgson. Stormers scrack him. Brok Harris again getting through plenty work in open prairie.
Leave it 5.
Yeah, there's some big collisions. Stormers are so aggressive with their defence compared to last year. Far more aggressive mindset.
Van Merwe is calling for it down the near side. Sorry, John. I thought that kick was going to go a bit closer to him.
We all get excited. It's okay.
Kalan took that over his own line.
Retreat.
Willemse clears, not very far. And Ali Price has got broken field and disjointed defenders, disconnected defenders to run at. Stormers slow that ball down well. It's something they're very adept at. Second slowest ruck speed against in the URC. They are one of the better poaching teams. Can Edinburgh make something of this enticing position? And they reclaim, re-establish that 2-score lead. Gilchrist around the corner. Again, a mighty collision with the heavies. Tuipulotu.
Leave it alone, ball's there. Fine. It's your own player's foot.
The Hive has found its voice. Price, Hodgson. Attack is very, very narrow. All the Edinburgh players, barring Duhan van Merwe, in the shot when we pull out to the wider angle. Van Merwe standing on the left touchline. Everybody else honeypotting around the ball. 14 men in shot there. Schoeman, that's ferocious. Price, Harrison. Big continuity. There's Van Merwe, bottom left of your picture. He's providing the width. Right now, they're going up the guts. Schoeman gets a third carry of this set of phases. Price, Bradbury. More headway made. Van Merwe's hunting for this one. Ritchie cutting in off that left foot. This is lung-sapping, energy-burning stuff. It's not the most imaginative, but it's hard on lungs and legs. Muncaster trying to slip around the outside. Price going blind, looking for runners. Darcy Graham tiptoeing off the touchline and then squashed, sandwiched, and slid over the touchline.
You've got to say great defence. You can hear the collisions, you can hear the ferociousness of it. But you rented it, Jamie. You could maybe throw a blanket over that Edinburgh attack. Pure defensive team, you just narrow up, makes your double tackles that bit easier. I think Edinburgh did quite well to try and find some width again. But the Stormers' approach, the Stormers' mindset, all-out aggression, double tackles, tying up the ball, being very disciplined as well.
They're being pretty good with you to numbers.
Is it a scramble or not?
It's a line-out. You must have that. 4.
Pressure throw here for André-Hugo Venter, who's back from his blood ring, heavily strapped around the temples.
Stay back. No, you're all good there, mate.
There he is. You can barely see beneath that thicket of bandages. 4-man line out for the South African franchise. The dummy jump and then the rise and the take from Dixon. And DeVet looks for a willing runner and finds Merwe. He's the go-to man when yards are the order of the day.
Stop.
He's under massive pressure. Can't make much ground at all given the angle he was working with. And a tight in goal area here at the Hive. Not much room to manoeuvre.
6.
A lot of pressure there on Damien Willemse. Not finding the distance he wanted. Ideally, you want to clear out
7 man.
between the 22 and 10-metre line.
7.
Big Dave Ewers, the human wardrobe, wheels himself off the paddock, and on comes Marcel Tuipulotu. Different profile, different type of flanker. He'll get on ball, he'll slow things down for Edinburgh. He's the fetcher. And he's got a bit of fetching to do here because Edinburgh have their tails up. They're back in that Stormers 22.
No, it's not. It's hit the front. It's 20's hit the front. Ball's on the deck. Leave it, 20. Leave it.
Tuipulotu straight into the heart of it. Ordered off that ball. Stormers coaches in front of us questioning why he wasn't allowed to go for it. Price. Matt Scott in his 3rd stint at the club. Thompson. The bouncing ball to Hodgson. Looking to kick it through for Van Merwe. It takes a ricochet. And Edinburgh back where they started, another line out in the red zone.
He hit the Stormers player's leg and I'm in.
This time the fortuitous bounce favours Edinburgh. First half was the other way around. This time comes off the feet there. And another opportunity there for Edinburgh to launch an attack from the line out.
Thank you.
But Marshall Sykes comes on at an important time for a second row. Runs a sweetie business in his spare time with his partner. They've got a pick and mix van out the back of the stadium. Would recommend. All about balance for professional athletes. Oh, big steal from Tuipulotu. Really important pilfer. Leaping at the front of the line out. With the ball cannons off a boot and Muncaster hoovers it up for Edinburgh. Here's Price. Schoeman running from out to in. And then ball stolen. It's Tuipulotu again. 2 massive interventions from the replacement. One in the air, one on the deck.
Use it, 9.
And the Stormers defence
Use it.
holding firm. Devet under pressure, shanks it off the park. They can't get out, but Edinburgh can't get over the line.
Yeah, I think it's actually Paul Devet with that turnover, Jamie. But what a steal there.
Numbers, please, lads.
By Marcel Tuipulotu. Untidy here again, turning over possession. And then the turnover. Turned over, and then Tuipulotu's on that ball.
These are crucial throws of this match, and they'll do it all over again.
Yeah, why not? This is becoming a problem for Edinburgh. You almost need, what's your go-to line out? That's 4 or 5 line outs in key areas they're not managing to actually execute.
Still gaining territory though.
Yeah, they're marching up there slowly. There's some experienced players in there. They're going to go long.
Shuttling right to the tail, and Gilchrist loses it forwards. Brok Harris through his legs. And eventually Willemse applies the pragmatic touch and hammers the ball out on halfway. It's an excellent clearance.
Yeah, that's the clearance the Stormers needed, but you talk about line-out calling and you talk about making it easy. You've got a young hooker, he's just underthrown one, and you ask him to throw a 17-metre throw. I just question the decision-making there, the maturity of the calling. Conversation needs to be had with Harri Harris. You know, where you come to throwing the ball, we've had a couple which haven't gone to hand. There we go, throw it to the front, win the ball.
Muncaster. Bradbury.
Leave it. You're off your feet now, 8. Thank you. Legal first.
Here's Schoeman. His carry stats again will be through the roof tonight. Bradbury. Remember, Edinburgh, stretching back to last season, haven't won a game since the 10th of May. 5 defeats on the bounce. Can they get that long-awaited win tonight? Here goes Khalat, and that spells pain and misery. Zas steamrolls one and throws a loose pass, and it's towed ahead instead by Hodgson. And the ball just won't stay in field for Edinburgh's fullback. Such a loose game, this. Nobody can hold possession for more than a phase or two.
And that's decision-making under pressure, reading the situation on the pitch. Yes, the Stormers are a dangerous counter-attacking team. You see there, Warwick Khalan trying to get the ball into Zassa's hands early. But that is just that moment where you've got to say, we haven't really had ball. Possession's been under pressure, we've been under territorial pressure. Let's just keep that ball set up, get it out of our territory.
Can't go direct to touch, so he laces it end over end down the middle. Darcy Graham, this is where he can cause havoc, not without his legs. Duplessis, an important tackle.
Regathered, yeah.
No knock on from Goosen.
Leave it, lads, leave it.
Slow ball for Edinburgh. Harrison sets it up. Tennis of just under 7,000 here at the Hive tonight. Record fixture,
no block, no
record
blocking.
attendance rather for the match against the South African opposition. Here's Khalantz, and there are those gilded fingers. Willemse heading for the corner,
is on, just
putting it in towards the 22. And has he got that 50-22? It looks like it's bobbled into touch just outside the white line.
It's been confirmed on TV as well.
Centimetres. I could understand why he went for it. Lovely break there in the offload. But he's got the gas. There for me, he should have just kept hold of the ball, kept going, run.
Clearly outside.
You wanted to go for the 50-22. It's been better just to keep ball in hand. Really stretched out defence.
It's that quickness, I thought, though. How many players will be looking up there thinking, find the space, but that ability to just quickly process it. The ball bounces a slightly different way. 50-22.
Here's Bradbury.
Yeah, he untouched the ball.
Thompson. Contestable kick for burnt orange chasers after it. Goosen got through, but Nell.
Tackle.
Stormers try scorer wins the ball. Here's Dixon.
No 7.
De Vet. Willemse. Harris. Still trucking, approaching the hour. Harris shoveling it back for De Vet. Don't mind a little bit of frenetic play around the fringes. They're happy to throw the slightly awkward ball if it means more continuity and more trouble for defences. Edinburgh fingers were on that ball, and again, Glenn Whitehouse happy it's all legal. And Ross Thompson can chase the Stormers back. 50-22's on here. David's trying to keep it in, and he can't. He's somersaulted over the touchline, and Edinburgh look for the quick throw here. He won't quite get it, but that is the momentum shift.
Yeah, it's a great kick. He got it early. I think he's controlled the game well today, Ross Thompson. You see Angel Davis, he does well to get back there. Just doesn't quite manage to keep it in. He'd be disappointed with that, but it's end-to-end stuff. Neither team really managing to control the ball. I thought the Stormers had done so well to work their way up the pitch and into Edinburgh's 22, but they were there for a matter of seconds, and here we are again back down in the Stormers 22. More defending to be done.
Of course, I penalised the clear one that I felt down
Stormers
here.
coaches beneath us are absolutely incandescent. They felt they were wandering Edinburgh hands in that breakdown, leading to the turnover. There's John Dobson. It's Norman Laker, the defence coach, who's running the messages onto the pitch today. He's down with the water bottles, and he was just about taking off. He was jumping up and down so much in frustration. Have another look at it here, John.
Yeah, keep your eyes on Magnus Bradbury. There's actually nobody over the ball. The ruck's formed, so he shouldn't technically be allowed to use his hands. It's a bit of a mess, that is. You can see why they're disappointed, but it's one of those 50-50 ones to me. No one quite over the ball. We saw it in the first half when Jamie Ritchie got one. There's a bit of light over that ball, but technically when Magnus Bradbury, the Stormers player, I think it was Brok Harris, make contact with him there, so really allowed to use his hands, but you win some, you lose some.
Goes to the front. Still not a point scored in this second half. We're almost halfway through it. Matt Scott spinning out of one, driving close to the line. Price, Venter and Ray, the two props combining.
Ewers.
Gilchrist upended.
There's no foul play, he's just gone over the top, do you agree?
Towering figure of Grant Gilchrist with his boots spun into the air. Still Edinburgh possession. Still Edinburgh look for a route through this stubborn Stormers defence. It's the pick and drive game. It's the muscles up front rather than the skills out wide.
Back, 8.
This is Edinburgh's attacking blueprint.
Advantage offside, 8.
They've got a penalty should they need it. Darcy Ray goes close.
Goal line.
Price, now they shift it. Tuipulotu, Thompson, Graham, try. They'll check the grounding. They'll look at that footage. But Darcy Graham's convinced he's scored this.
Yeah, he looks confident, Darcy Graham. Just the ability to move that pass one wider. Tuipulotu, Mosese Tuipulotu. I'm wondering whether he's lost contact. We're going to have to see that slower, but just the structure, the shape, a bit wider. You see Mosese Tuipulotu speaking to Ross Thompson, trying to get a shape out the back of the tight work by the forwards. You can see the shape now, 13 with 12 outside, 10 out the back. How often have we seen his brother Sione do that with Glasgow? Now let's have a look at the finish.
We're looking for separation here.
I'm not seeing any separation, although it bobbles and loses control. Do you agree, Rob?
Currently not seeing any separation. I just want to double check it.
Yeah, you have one more look. I can see it's a clear bobble of the ball, but I'm not seeing separation at the moment.
Need to see some air between arm and ball to disallow this.
Tom, camera back on me. We can stick with the try. He loses control, but there's no separation in a clear press try.
I agree.
The try stands. The Hive roars. And Edinburgh have a more comfortable cushion.
Yes, although he lost control, he still had that downward pressure. The ball didn't go forward. What a finish there by Darcy Graham.
Down beneath us, the Stormers are lining up 5 forwards to come on. They'll come on with a 14-point deficit to overturn. Fine kick from Thompson. 21-7, Edinburgh leads.
Well, John, you said some of those rucks you win and you lose. The Stormers lost here by 7 points because of that initial ruck. But what a finish there by Darcy Graham. He still had so much work to get in the corner and score the try.
Ben Vellacott has come on to try and drive Edinburgh over the line at scrum half. Captain alongside Grant Gilchrist, replacing Harri Price.
Use it 9.
There's the diminutive scrum half. Opting to run and opting to hit Thompson, who saw space. Willemse covering. No, he's lost another. That's 2. Damien Willemse has dropped cold in most un-Willemse-like fashion. And when your record-breaking double World Cup winning playmaker is doing that, there's little else but to stare into space.
1, 2, 5, 8.
There is that battalion of heavies that John Dobson has sent forth. 5 forward replacements coming on, an entire new front row of Kotsea, Sitole, Sandy. Andreas Smith as well is on in jersey 19, and Philly Engelbrecht too in jersey 21. So off will come Ruben van Heerden, Fouché, Venter and Harris up front.
Underneath us. Nice and straight, nice and straight. Elbow.
And Kiki Morabe as well withdrawn from the back row to make way for Philly Engelbrecht. Let's see if that can just reignite the Stormers here. They've been under the pump for so much of this second half.
Bind! Set!
Fresh leg straight into this scrummage.
Elbow 1, elbow 1. Good.
corkscrews around, and it's Edinburgh's penalty.
Edinburgh stayed straight, you ran the back row.
Yeah, pretty clear from Ben Whitehouse there. Look at the speed that it whips around. You even see Ben Whitehouse talking to JJ Kosia.
Front row was good.
And Satole, they just spin round too quickly. Edinburgh stay square. And in this kind of crazy game, we're seeing Edinburgh being in a dogfight and now looking at an elusive bonus point, which they struggled for so much last year to capitalise. How many times? It was 9 or 10 times, sitting on 3 tries. How valuable would this be, given the context of the opening 3 rounds of the season, to come away with a 5-pointer here?
Only the Dragons managed fewer try bonus points than Edinburgh last year. They only lost 2 more games than Glasgow, the eventual champions. They finished 6 places beneath them because of the failure to score tries, because of their inability to capitalise on opportunities such as this. Harrison steams up to the 5-metre line. Vellacott, quick ball. Sykes lumbering towards the line. Harrison gets another touch. They swing off to the left and they score. And it's one of the old soldiers, Grant Gilchrist, with his red scrum cap, with his long levers, who brings up that rare, precious bonus point.
And in the end, it was pretty easy, pretty straightforward. You feel like the wind's gone out, the Stormers still slightly, the impact of the collisions, not quite there. Some big carries, powerful, heavy carries. Harrison's carried well. Grant Gilchrist there, just gets close to the line, sort of disallowed 1 in the first half. Good body position, nice and low, but you've got a question against Stormers' defence. You've got to be low around the guards, you've got to be low around the ruck. You know Edinburgh coming when they're that close to the line. As it is, you've got to feel to it as this is a, if not a mountain to climb, it's not far off the Stormers. Edinburgh in complete control.
Yeah, and those unforced errors by the Stormers again, putting them under pressure. That all stemming back from that Damien Willemse dropped catch, which was straightforward, and then the penalty from the scrum. And Edinburgh worked their way into that try. As you rightly say there, John, Sunday there, too wide, not low enough. And that is just straightforward power play, the big man targeting the edge.
One of only 4 men to hit a double century for Edinburgh. This is his 209th match. He hadn't scored in 6 years before hauling Edinburgh off the canvas in Joburg last weekend. 2 tries in 2 matches. And here's Muncaster, still full of running. Luke Crosbie, by the way, has just joined us. Tough, rugged flanker from Livingston, hasn't played since the Uruguay summer programme test match back in July. He's been nursing an injury, but he's fit and he's ready. Expected to see plenty game time over the next little while. De Vet, Willemse. Willemse once more, looking for Gallant on the inside. They can still score from nothing, they can still create in the blink of an eye, and Gallant again is waving his magic wand. Beefy carry from Adria Smith just off the bench. Willemse. Oh, Sadi's lost it. Costly error from Sassi Sandy.
I didn't
Unforced error again.
I didn't see it. Apologies. Yeah, time off.
Well done there by Andre Smith, just straightening the line out after that lovely little break by Warwick Gallant, showing how dangerous the Stormers can be. But then again, all momentum broken down by that knock-on. They had the numbers on the outside. All they had to do there was take it in, quick recycle, and they would have had a numerical advantage on the open side.
Paul De Vet withdrawn. Quieter game than we're used to seeing Paul De Vet, normally fizzing around those breakdowns to great effects. Linked with a move to France, linked with a move to the Bulls as well next season. And the Stormers, South African media reporting, are showing interest in Sanele Nohamba, the Lions playmaker, who operates at 9 and 10. But Stefan Ungerer, who's come on
Oh, it's really good scrum, the first one.
Plenty for Gregor Townsend to chew over. He'll be pleased to see, apart from anything else, one of his two professional teams bouncing back from such a grave start to the campaign. Anybody in particular, John, put their hands up with this performance?
I think the usual suspects. I think if you're Gregor Townsend, you're looking at the guys that you built this team around, the Pierre Schoemans of the world, the Grant Gilchrist. You know, Darcy Graham, great to see him back to fitness. Duhan van der Merwe, you know, all the established players.
Bind!
Someone like Magnus Bradbury, back in form. Has he done enough to get back in? Ben Muncaster, another one. Another strong game from him. Is he going to be in a position to be in that Scotland squad in a couple of weeks' time?
Edinburgh put the squeeze on, and the Stormers disintegrates. Sean Everett's spoken this week about the impact his replacement props give him off the bench. Boan Venter and Darcy Ray has been really, really pleased with the impetus they've added at scrum time. That's what they're in the team for.
So there's some Darcy Ray might not be far away from a call-up potentially. Like you said, when he comes on, he's destructive in the set piece. Yeah, another error though from the Stormers.
Okay, 9.
Final Stormers replacement made. Angelo Davids off. Wandisa Similane coming on. He's another creative talent.
Thank you. You can come a bit closer with this side of the line.
Just not happening for the visitors in Edinburgh tonight. Ritchie off the top. Thompson, Muncaster still dishing out the punishment. Vellacott and Sykes setting up the maul on purpose here. This is interesting. Ball cocooned in there somewhere, and then eventually spilling out in the midst of Sykes. Tuipulotu thundering through. Came Ruan Nel. It was off the head, so it's play on, and Darcy Graham nearly loses his head in that collision with Similane.
Use it. Okay, lads. Hey, leave it, please.
Apologies for any foul language you might have picked up over the referee's mic. South African voice not too happy that someone was holding on to him. Crosbie, nicknamed the Terminator in the Edinburgh camp.
Use it. You're adding players.
Easy to see why when you watch him go to work.
Yeah, he knows one way. And he's someone that Gregor Townsend, the keen iron, been in and out of that Scotland team at his best. Such a physical specimen with him without the ball.
Vellacott, broken field, danger. Willemse inside to Duplessis, his reverse lights flashing. Muncaster, another big intervention.
Tackle, release.
Kotze took it up. Schickerling, Willemse, Similane, can he get rid of Van der Merwe? No, he cannot. Unison. And the Stormers find some fluency. It's eluded them for much of this game. Just those 7 points, just that Ruan Nel try that feels a long, long time ago. And they've spilled another one. And Matt Currie can punish them with that kick. Won't be a 50-22, but it will just sap more morale.
Yeah, so close to being a 50-22. But the Stormers there playing backwards and just applying more pressure on themselves. Someone had to step up there and make a decision to get the ball deep, try and turn it around. It was a lovely tackle by Ruan Nel to really get the pressure out there. Got absolutely smashed.
We love to see that. Ross Thompson gets up, takes it well. Again, look, Edinburgh just growing as the game was on. They're physical. Do you see they're just looking to explore, a bit more confidence? Seeing Tuipulotu with a bit more influence in those wider channels, a bit more comfortable running the shapes. A few more smiles this week. I mean, they're going to win this game now, you have to assume. You can't underestimate just how important that is. They would have been at rock bottom on that plane back from South Africa. And this game really represented, if not do or die, not far off it. They've stood up, they've been physical. Yeah, it's not perfect, but so many more positives to pick through than last week.
Harri Morris is on for just his second Edinburgh appearance at hooker for Patrick Harrison. Made his debut back in 2021 in the Rainbow Cup, remember that? Had to wait 3 years between outings 1 and 2. He'll be keen to make up for lost time.
Leave it now.
He's had loan spells at London Scottish and Doncaster down in the English Championship. Haven't seen much of Duhan van Merwe today. There he goes, careering forward, knocking the ball on in the air. And Willemse looking to weave something from deep. Van Heerden, Gelat, Du Plessis. Advantage was just called over. And that is, unfortunately for the Stormers, typical of their evening here in Edinburgh.
Yeah, this unforced error count is mounting. John Dobson and his team is not happy with that. Just putting themselves under pressure with poor execution. Yes, they want to play, but another unforced error in their own territory, allowing Edinburgh with this dominant scrum to get the advantage.
Okay, we had a really good scrum. Go forward.
Yeah, the Stormers have got a clear DNA. They're champions in their first year, runners up the following year, all out attack. Speaking to John Dobson a couple of times last year, it's just about how they take that style, that DNA, and become, you know, better decision makers. When is the time to force offloads? We've seen it. It just becomes contagious through a team, and it snowballs, and quite quickly you turn around and you're behind the scoreboard. You've got time pressure against you, and that's been the story of today. Far too much error within their game, and a lot of it within their control, forcing too many passes, too many offloads. I would say it's uncharacteristic, but it's not for this team. We see these performances every so often from the Stormers. They want to challenge and play and throw the ball around, but it's lacking accuracy at the moment.
Not got a great away record, John Dobson's men. They were 5 from 12 victories away from home last season, but only 3 outside of South Africa. Won in the Champions Cup against the weakened Stade Francais. Victory against Connacht, final day of the regular season. Effectively secured their place in the playoffs. And one of the struggling Dragons as well in between those two. They have just 1 win from 3 on this curtain-raising tour. And Edinburgh dynamiting the scrummage again. Tuipulotu to Thompson. Wes Goosen does just take a bounce, but it's not his sweetest strike.
Yeah, not his sweetest strike, but exactly what he needed to do.
Stormers not standing on ceremony. They've got a chance their arm now. Simlane to Zas. He had runners, couldn't find them. And Edinburgh fighting furiously. Matt Currie wins the penalty. And cries of Benny, Benny, Benny. Just wait, Benny Vellacott. Forwards not too keen to chase another quick tap.
It's great work by Matt Currie, but again, it's almost like a broken record. How much pressure do the Stormers want to put on themselves? I know they've got to chase the game. If you're going to chase the game, you've got to be in rucks. You've got to be looking after the ball. It's just not enough respect of where that ball is for me, Tinas.
Yeah, and your outside backs, got to realise there, you're playing away from your forward pack. You've got to get your head over that ball, protect that ball. They've decided to take the quick tap or the quick ball, but you've got to react to that. You've got to play towards that ball. If the offload's not on, you are at least you there to get over the ball and protect it. Instead, they give another penalty away.
And just to further sap the Stormers' energy, that flickering hope of taking something from this game, Ross Thompson will eat up another minute and aim to bring up 3 more points. Or not. Very surprising miss from Ross Thompson. It's not going to cost Edinburgh at this stage in the game, but his kicking stats will take a dent. So 22-metre dropout for the Stormers. Heading back to Cape Town. They've got big home matches coming as well. They've got Munster next up, then Glasgow Warriors. 2 big teams to take on. Ben Vellacott, meanwhile, is fizzing around like a sprite.
Yes.
And then he was taken out off the ball. And it goes from bad to worse for the Stormers.
push off the ball when he's trying to reach for it. Number 7. Okay, boys, let's go. Decision. Tees on. Posts.
Well, Ross Thompson's going to have another crack here. How frustrating will this be for the Stormers, Tinas, just to see the clock ticking away, to see penalties like this given away?
Yeah, they'll be very happy. They'll be getting back on the plane after 3 weeks overseas. It's probably akin to last week for Edinburgh when they were against the Lions. You're just imploding. Everything you're trying to do is not coming off. Then you start trying harder, and then you start losing all shape. Best thing they can do in the last 5 minutes is try and get a score, get back to a little bit of confident play and put Edinburgh under pressure. But it's not going to work if you try too much and overplay.
Ross Thompson inflicts another blow, 31 points to 7 into the final 5 minutes of the 80. The Stormers will need 3 tries to take a bonus point back to Cape Town with them.
Inside.
Ben Vellacott, that was neat and tidy. Khalad. Is there more running? Is there more sorcery in his fingers and toes? And offloads forwards. And everything the Stormers touch is falling apart in their hands right now.
10.
This game slipping away from them. John, plenty of candidates, most of them I suspect wearing burnt orange for your BKT URC Player of the Match awards. Who have you gone for?
Yeah, it's been a tough one. There's been some good performances. I think Pierre Schoeman again, it just goes through so much work for Edinburgh with his carries and without the ball in defence. But the BKT URC Player of the Match is that man in picture, Ben Muncaster, playing out of position at open side this evening. But again, just someone who gets through so much work. And when I say work, I mean meaningful work. Is the power in his carries, the collisions he's putting in defence. I think he's definitely, for me, been Edinburgh's star player of the opening 4 rounds, and Gregor Townsend a couple rows over, keeping a close eye on him. So Ben Muncaster is the player of the match in this evening's game.
Free kick quickly taken by Vellacott. Mosese Tuipulotu crashes up the middle. Vellacott, Darcy Graham on one of those trademark runs close to the ruck, looking for a soft shoulder. Boan Venter, former cheetah, South African loose head.
Contest over there, 20, thank you. He's driving through, you've got to get away from the ball.
It's getting pretty feisty down there. Edinburgh have the penalty. Vellacott's going to go, and he was taken out early by Schickerling. That could be a yellow card.
It should be a yellow.
7 or 8 metres, but not 10.
I think that's generous. Maybe 7 or 8 centimetres from my mind. I think Ben Whitehouse has been very generous there. You see the frustration.
Sorry,
I think it's Andre Smith flying into rucks, which he doesn't need to go into. You're seeing a
you can drive through, but you fell
desperate,
alongside, you've got to move.
frustrated Stormer side here.
Cammy Scott, fresh off the bench, preferred to Ben Healy. Sean Everett talking about his defensive work as much of his attack. But this is the tempo Ben Vellacott brings, John.
I thought you asked me.
Well, if that's 7 or 8 metres,
absolutely fine.
I need to get my measuring tape out.
He's got long arms, JD Schickerling. So not that long. 2 minutes to play. Edinburgh finish with a flourish.
Gilchrist. Trundle wheel would have been useful. Remember those?
Here goes Harri Morris, spearing off on his own. Darcy Ray. Edinburgh on the hunt for a 5th.
Backwards.
Ritchie shoveled it back. No knock on so far. Morris around the base. Stormers defence creaking. Vellacott, Boan Venter. Then Jason Dixon just carried up in the air by Gilchrist. Morris, Crosbie, he'll drive the legs like pistons. Vellacott now again, Duhan van Merwe standing right on the left touchline. As wide as he can get. Edinburgh go through the middle. Still not quite. Stacey Tolley working hard in defence for the Stormers. Minute and 8 seconds to go. Edinburgh piling round the close quarter fringes of the ruck. They're right on the white paint. They burrow again, they're short. Vellacott through his own legs. And then there's a chicken scratch for possession on the floor. Stormers come tumbling through. Boan Venter going sideways. Vellacott, Crosbie. Still the Stormers defending admirably. Then Jason Dixon slowing it down well. Vellacott, Muncaster. He's there. The player of the match seals the win in the final minutes. A double for Ben Muncaster, and Edinburgh at last have something to shout about.
Yeah, thoroughly deserved for Muncaster. That's been the DNA of tonight. When you get down there, keep it tight. And why not? It works. The evolution. Have a look at Marshall Sykes holding on to the Stormers player there. Means he can't get a double tackle, and it's cute. It's not been picked up by the referee or the match official. He's got his arms out, he knows exactly what he's doing. Schickerling's being held onto there. The loss of positives for Edinburgh. We know they're physical, they've been organised, they've been ruthless in and around that part of the pitch tonight. The evolution is adding a few more softer touches, shifting that point of attack, but job done here at the Hive.
Is that time for you?
For the first time in 5 months, since the 10th of May, Edinburgh Rugby have a victory to savour and to celebrate in front of their home supporters. Searching questions, deep, uncomfortable questions were asked of this group and of their coach Sean Everett in the wake of the demolition job at Ellis Park in Johannesburg. But they have come up with plenty answers. Clobbered by the Lions, they've been clinical against the Stormers. Full time at the Hive, Edinburgh Rugby 38, the DHL Stormers 7. Sean, how badly did Edinburgh need not just this win, but a performance, tries? Look what it means, that the fist pump from Grant Gilchrist, who is one of the most poker-faced forwards you'll see in the heat of battle. Their character was questioned, their attack was questioned by you frequently. I'm not sure they've answered all those questions, but